Hi, I'm the strike lawyer. Real name is John Regan. I run this Lawyers on Strike blog. And the reason I'm doing a video installment on the blog today is for a very specific and very urgent purpose. That is that within the next couple of weeks, I have to go to Rochester, New York. I'm currently in Toronto, Ontario, but I have to go back to Rochester, New York to file a petition for a writ of habeas corpus in a matter that I've blogged extensively about since last August, and that is the Sefra Davis matter. You can go back to, I think it's August 16th, and there's a post entitled Introduction, and then there are many posts following that explaining what the Sefra Davis situation is and what has been done up to this point. The last legal proceeding that was undertaken in it was a petition for a writ of habeas corpus also, but that was brought as an original matter in the United States Supreme Court in 2010. But in any event, that was denied, and so was a petition for rehearing basically by July of 2010. But under the Supreme Court's rules, their denials of original petitions for habeas corpus, which are brought there, do not preclude an application in a district court afterwards. So it has been a possibility to do that since that denial in July of 2010. But in any event, the upshot is that a petition for a writ of habeas corpus has to be brought while the petitioner, that would be Sefra Davis, is, quote, in custody. She is in custody for purposes of federal habeas corpus as long as she is on parole, and her parole expires on March 18th. So basically, that's a Sunday, so basically by March 16th, I have to file a petition for a writ of habeas corpus. For the past 8 years, I've been working on this case. If you go through the previous posts, you'll get most of the relevant details, and it has been, as many legal matters are, this is one of the dirty secrets of independent private law practice, as many legal matters are, it has been quite what you would call unremunerative. So I have wound up broke, and my client is broke, and my client's family is broke. That means that the only way this is going to happen is if I can raise a few $1,000s, get myself down there and do what needs to be done, perhaps collaborate with other counsel who have no obligation to work for free, and do whatever else might be advantageous in pursuit of the goal. Now, why is this goal important, or why does it have any general interest beyond simply Sefra Davis or me? The reason is, and the reason that you would go to a federal court or be anxious to go or have it be really, I think, imperative to go, it presents an issue. What is the issue? The issue is, do you have a due process right not to be framed by the government, that means police and prosecutors, for a crime that you didn't commit? One would think it would be something that went without saying. I would have thought so myself, but there apparently has been a school of thought common among the nation's prosecutors that there is no due process right not to be framed by the government. So in other words, the police and prosecutors can make up charges, fabricate evidence, commit perjury, conspire to commit perjury, all the way up to the time of your trial. So they can get you charged, they can put you in jail, they can require a high bail for you to be released, they can do all of those things, and also put you in jeopardy at a trial of being convicted and having a very long prison sentence, or conceivably even a death sentence. And as long as they do not introduce the perjury and the fabricated evidence at a trial, they haven't violated any of your rights. What this translates into is that if they can basically terrorize you into pleading guilty, then their position is no harm, no foul. No right of yours has been violated. What's driving this from my end? It's an outrageous position for the prosecutors to take. I didn't know for a fact that the prosecutors were taking this position. It was a matter of surmise, but it became much more explicit after I'd already been in the case for 5 years. And in November of 2009, there was a case argued down in the United States Supreme Court called Pottawatomie County versus McGee. Docket number is 08-1065. You can find a lot about it on the internet. In that case, this issue of whether there was a constitutional right not to be framed came up. And the National District Attorneys Association, the Solicitor General of the United States, somewhat disappointingly, and other amicus that participated in the litigation before the United States Supreme Court on behalf of the prosecutors, all took the position that there is no due process right not to be framed by the government. After this installment is put up on the blog, I'm going to do an immediate follow-up post, which will contain a document that I intend to file in support of an application for an order to show cause down in the district court, assuming I can get down there, which kind of outlines the legal history behind this and why the prosecutors, although I think it's really a bad faith argument, I think it's but there's a colorable rationale for it. And that's what became clear in the Pottawatomie case, and that's why I went to the Supreme Court initially with a petition after the Pottawatomie case was settled. The Pottawatomie case presented the question, but the Supreme Court was not able to resolve the question because the matter settled. Now, why this case as opposed to some other case? Well, the issue is very difficult to present. What you would have to do to have a case that presented the issue would be where, first of all, you could prove that the charges were brought substantially or wholly based on perjury and fabricated evidence. Then you would have to prove that this was learned before any judgment of conviction was entered. In other words, the state courts had an opportunity to look at it and say, well, can this prosecution go forward? And decided to let the prosecution go forward anyway, up to and including a judgment of conviction based upon a plea, and preferably that plea would be what we call an Alford plea, which is a plea of guilty, where a criminal defendant says, well, I didn't do it, but I don't want to take the risk of getting more time if I go to trial and lose, so I'm going to plead guilty and take what the prosecutor is offering. All of those things are what happened here. But in any event, this is a case that presents that issue, and that's why it's important to do it in this case. We don't have much time, and that's why I really, sort of as a last ditch, because I've exhausted all my other alternatives, have to come on here and see if I can raise some funds through the internet. Obviously, exposure of this will also be important. You can look underneath this post and you'll see if it's on this side of that. But there's a Facebook button, there's a Twitter button. There are ways that you can spread this information around so that people who have a conscience, people who have a concern about the justice system in the United States, people who have a concern really about the United States as a country and our criminal justice system, which is an important part of it, can support this effort so that we can correct this egregious flaw in the law going forward. Now, my intentions are to more or less update daily as to what the developments are in this matter. I do think it's important that once you make a transition into a situation where you are now involving people and their contributions and their efforts to try to get something done, that you keep these people informed, and not informed simply by writing the half snarky things that I sometimes write on the blog, which sometimes I pull it off and sometimes I don't, so that I can appear, now that I have video capability, and answer questions that come up from people and update them as to what I'm doing. So in another sense, this is sort of a first, as far as I know, that this is a legal proceeding that's more or less going to be presented online in more or less real time as it's going on. That may be a first. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the fact is it's all I'm left with as far as trying to get something done, and I do think it is so important to get this done. For personal reasons, I won't be able to make the trip to Rochester until the week of March 12th. So this is the latest this can be filed would be March 16th. So it's going to have to be done that week. Obviously, I'll have it prepared and hopefully ready to go before I get down there. But I am going to have to postpone it because I do have my daughter is coming to visit on the 9th and is staying until the 13th. I don't get to see my daughter very much, and she's 12, and haven't really seen her in more than a year. So that's very important to me to be here for her visit, and it will still leave a few days for me to get down there and get the thing filed. Plus, I don't know how long it's going to take to raise any funds through this method. But you'll see somewhere on the blog, I don't know if it's this side or that side, there's a PayPal button. You can contribute by credit card. And again, if you would spread this around as much as possible to all of your Facebook friends, to all of your Twitter followers, I would very much appreciate it. Your country appreciates it. For those of you who are Americans, except for Davis and her family, I'm sure appreciate it. And that's where we're at. So I will see you again soon in this format, and I will address any questions that I get either through email, strikelawyer@gmail.com, on Twitter @strikelawyer. Also, you could just post a comment on the blog here, and if it contains a question or something I think needs to be addressed, then I'll try to address it in video format, so that you will be comfortable, or if you're thinking about contributing, or if you have contributed, that this is a real thing, that this is ongoing, that I'm a real person, I'm not just some internet fiction. Thank you very much for your time and attention on this, and I look forward to hearing from as many of you as possible, and I'm praying for the success of this project. So signing off for now, but I will be on again soon.